not only do our muscles get stronger and healthier, but our skin gets stronger and healthier when we strength train.
In the present context, resistance training improved appearance, skin elasticity, and skin health.
Yes, I can't wait to know how a cutometer works.
Welcome to the Strength Changes Everything podcast, where we introduce you to the information, latest research, and tools that will enable you to live a strong, healthy life. On this podcast, we will also answer your questions about strength, health, and well-being. I'm Amy Hudson. I own and operate 3 exercise coach studios. My co-hosts are Brian Sagan, co-founder and CEO of The Exercise Coach, and Dr. James Fisher, leading researcher in evidence-based strength training. And now for today's episode.
Welcome back to the Strength Changes Everything podcast. Today is the first episode in a series of episodes all about how strength training can help reverse signs of aging. So if you recall last week in our intro episode, we just described what aging really can look like and mean. And we all understand kind of and have an image in our mind of what it means to get older. And one of the first things that often comes to mind for people is your physical appearance changing. Your skin starts to look wrinkly and saggy, right? And your hair goes gray. And you look like an older version of yourself than you did when you were in your 20s. One thing that is super interesting that a lot of people out there don't know is that there is a connection between strength training and exercise and skin elasticity. So I think a lot of us know at a basic level, that our skin's appearance can be influenced by, how much water we're drinking, or if we're consuming a lot of alcohol, sometimes our face can look puffy and things like that, right? If we're not sleeping, our face may be looking different. But at a higher level, ongoing strength training exercise can actually help to improve your skin elasticity. So we're going to talk about what research is behind this and where this concept originates. And Dr. Fisher is going to walk us through, what studies have shown about this. And it'll be very interesting and enlightening for us to learn about this today. So, Dr. Fisher, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic today, Amy. Thank you. How are you?
Good. I'm well. So I just, I'm a lady and I like to look good, right? And I want my skin to look good. And there's so many creams I could buy, right? But let's talk today about, I'm super excited to learn about how resistance exercise can play into that anti-aging for skin elasticity. So what article or what research are we going to share today about this?
Yeah, I'm particularly excited about this study. We discussed this theme of a series of episodes discussing how resistance training reverses aging. And of course, one of the things that you said to me is, we should see if there's any research about appearance and about skin elasticity. And I thought, this is a little bit outside of my remit, my scope of practice. I don't know that I've read any research around there. But as we've talked about previously about going away and do literature searches, I went away and did exactly that. And I found this really fascinating study that I want to introduce to the listeners today. And it's by a group of Japanese authors. And its title, and I put it on the screen for the people at home watching on YouTube, Resistance training rejuvenates aging skin by reducing circulating inflammatory factors and enhancing dermal extracellular matrices. I mean, you've already given this away in what you said at the start, that strength training can improve skin elasticity. But I really want to talk through some of the things in this study because I found it really interesting to go through.
Right. I'm excited to learn how that works, right? So yeah, let's go through it.
Yeah, okay. So the first thing is they actually compared a group of people doing 2 different exercise protocols. So they had 56 women aged between 41 and 59, and they were identified as healthy, sedentary women. And half of them did aerobic training for 16 weeks, where they cycled for 30 minutes at 65 to 70% of their max heart rate. And the other half of the group did a resistance training program for 16 weeks, where they did a typical 3 sets of 10 exercises. It's that magic 3 sets of 10 again. 3 sets of 10 exercises, of 10 repetitions, I should say, for 6 different exercises: leg curl, leg extension, arm curl, seated row, shoulder press, and chest press. So a pretty standard workout. So that was the training protocol that they described. But it's maybe worth me taking a step back here, because while we're talking about skin in terms of appearance and elasticity and in terms of looking younger and so forth, the authors in their introduction highlight some really important points to consider about skin health in general and what they call the extracellular matrix. So the extracellular matrix, just for clarity, is kind of effectively a measure of the quality of skin. It's how well our skin is structured. And one of the things they highlight is that skin is actually the largest organ in the body, and it's the primary barrier against infection and disease. Now that I've said that, I'm sure most people will say, well, of course it is. But it's worth remembering that. So our skin is not just a marker of our appearance, but the skin quality is a marker of our health in terms of being able to fight or resist infection and disease. Now, the authors go on to say that the skin constitutes part of the neuroendocrine system, um, and that it can release hormones, neurotransmitters in response to external and local stress. So we've maybe experienced, heat or sun exposure and had a response in our central system as a response to that external stress. And then they go on to say, obviously, that the extracellular matrix degradation, so the breakdown of skin over time, is caused by a couple of key things. So externally, it can be sun exposure and air pollution. And internally or intrinsically, it can be age-related hormonal changes on neuroendocrine system, as we said, and an increase in inflammatory cytokines. So the things that we typically think are going to happen with aging almost regardless of our exercise habits. And they kind of went on to say that there's some evidence to say that skin elasticity can be improved in people following aerobic training, but no one had ever looked at the effects of resistance training, and hence why they divided participants into two groups, the aerobic and the resistance training groups.
I like what you reminded us too, because it's not when we think about skin, it is very tempting just to think about physical appearance, but I like the reminder, the quality of your skin is also going to impact your disease risk or your infection risk and health in that way going forward. I think a lot of us forget that, but I think it's doing us a double favor, right? If we can get that skin stronger. And I like the point that you just made of there are external factors that break down the quality of our skin and internal. And so we have to address both, right? So I'm sure we're going to get into that more, but
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think it's really important that if something is healthy, it functions well. And we talk about this in terms of muscle all the time, but I think that's true of skin, that its appearance to some extent is a marker of its health and its quality and its ability to resist infection, disease, as we said. So the researchers, before and after this 16-week intervention, so before the intervention, they measured skin elasticity, and they talked a bit about why skin elasticity is so important. And they talked about how collagen breaks down over time, how elastin fibers degrade, and ultimately the extracellular matrix weakens. And so the structure of skin starts to degrade and break down. They also measured upper dermal structure and they measured dermal thickness. Now, I should at this point clarify, this is way outside my area of research. I've never done any research in this topic at all. And if there are any dermatologists listening and I mispronounce or I misquote something here, or I don't explain something with good enough clarity, please feel free to go to the website and send us a note or a comment to help me to learn this. I was excited to go through this paper and really learn some new things. So hopefully I can pass that over in the right way. So the first thing that they did is they measured skin elasticity. And when I first read the paper, I thought, I don't know how you would measure skin elasticity. And then I found the tool that they make reference to, and I absolutely love this name. It's called a cutometer. Now, Now, now in my head, a cutometer is a measure of how cute something is. So maybe that's exactly why it was named that way. I have no information as to why it was named the way it was. That wasn't what I was interested in. What I was more interested in is how it worked. And I read this paper and I read some other research to get some more detail as to how it worked. And so I'll explain that if that's okay, Amy.
Yes, I mean, I can't wait to know how a cutometer works.
So they place a probe on the skin, and the device effectively acts like a vacuum. It's got gentle suction, and it pulls the skin upward into the probe. Okay. And then when the suction stops, the device measures how quickly and how completely the skin returns to its original shape. Okay. So, and from that, what you actually get is what's called an elastic recovery rate. And the elastic recovery rate is a factor of first of all, the total deformation. So how much the skin stretched when the suction was applied, and then the immediate recovery. So how much it springs back after the suction stops. And that's obviously, a measure of elasticity, how much it stretches to begin with, and then how well it springs back after it's been deformed. Now, in hindsight, that makes perfect sense, but it was really interesting from my perspective to learn this. And again, I just want to repeat the name, the use of a cutometer. So that's how they measure skin elasticity. Now, we also talked about measuring dermal structure and dermal thickness. And so they used an ultrasound for this, and this is far more comfortable for me. So an ultrasound effectively sends sound waves into the skin, and then the echoes kind of make contact with things and reflect back to the ultrasound probe and help to create an image of what they're looking at. So ultimately, it helps construct an image of different skin layers. And it helps the researchers see the outermost layer, which is the epidermis, and then the mid layer, which is the dermis. And also from that ultrasound, they can start to analyze their properties. Now, there's a little bit more to add, and we shouldn't really get into too much detail on this, but as age-related damage occurs, you get what's called a subepidermal low echogenic band. And that's a small black band that effectively appears below the epidermis or between the epidermis and the dermis, I should say. So they were also able to sort of look at that and see how that was affected by exercise. So there's a few things there that they looked at. And then finally, the other thing that they were interested in is they looked at some blood markers. So they took blood plasma before and after the 16-week training intervention, and they looked at the expression of dermal extracellular matrix related genes. And they looked at how those genes, or they specifically looked at those genes that which encode collagen and improve kind of our skin properties. And finally, they looked at some myokines, which we've talked about previously, and some inflammatory cytokines, which are associated with aging.
And they can see all of that through the blood work.
Right. So when they take the blood, they're able to spin it, and they're able to then identify certain genetic expression or certain myokines or expression of certain cytokines and so forth. Yeah. So there's a lot happening here, and it's an incredibly detailed study from this context. So absolute kudos to the researchers themselves. I'm sure studies like this are not very frequently done because they're very expensive to do to take this kind of detail. So it's a fantastic study from that perspective.
Okay, so now I'm on the edge of my seat though to find out what happened.
Okay, yeah, absolutely, and this is the bit we're all interested in, right? So it's worth clarifying that there was two groups. There was the aerobic training group and there was the resistance training group. And they reported that both groups improved skin elasticity and upper dermal structure after the 16 weeks of training. So pre to post intervention, both groups had improved skin appearance in the form of elasticity and the upper dermal structure in terms of the extracellular matrix. So that's really good. That's great news. what's even greater news from our perspective as advocates of resistance training is that the resistance training group also improved dermal thickness, which are measures of kind of skin strength. It's a further measure of elasticity, or dermal thickness can be a marker of elasticity, and it can also be a marker of appearance. So effectively, the thicker the dermal layer of skin, the healthier the skin itself. And that was improved only in the resistance training group.
You just said this is really cool. Like, not only do our muscles get stronger and healthier, but our skin gets stronger and healthier when we strength train.
Exactly. It's put exactly that simply. It gets stronger, it gets healthier, and with that, its appearance is improved. Its elasticity, which of course is not just related to appearance, it's functional, but our elasticity is improved. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, and what was amazing was that this was a 16-week intervention. This wasn't saying that, hey, if you strength train for 5 years, you can improve this. This is saying that in a 16-week study, you can improve this with 16 weeks of uncomplicated resistance training. Again, this was 6 resistance machines that they did. It wasn't barbell back squats or complex exercises. It was relatively simple training protocol. And of course, while they used the 3 sets of 10, we would of course say that actually they could have probably got the same benefits with 1 set performed to a sufficiently high degree of effort, because we know that produces the myokines. We know that reduces inflammatory cytokines.
Mm-hmm.
Which brings me to the final point about the blood markers. And they said that both resistance training and aerobic training improved genetic expression and effectively improved the blood profile as a whole towards improved skin quality. So, yeah, as you just said, resistance training is great for our muscles. It's great for a multitude of factors from a physiological and a psychological perspective, which we will talk about later in this series. But in the present context, resistance training improved appearance, skin elasticity, and skin health.
Yeah, that is so cool. It's just one more benefit that so many people don't know about. I love that we revealed it today, and I hope that if you heard this episode today, you're you're so excited about this just brand new thing that maybe a lot of people don't realize in terms of how you age. So I think it's a really, really cool study, and thank you for breaking it down for us.
My absolute pleasure. I hope it was useful for people.
Yes, absolutely. Well, we'll see you next week on the podcast as we dive into more areas that strength training can help us reverse the signs of aging. So I hope you're enjoying this series, and we can't wait for next week. We will see you then. And until then, we hope you remember, strength changes everything. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed today's episode, please share it with a friend. You can submit a question or connect with the show at strengthchangeseverything.com. Join us next week for another episode, and be sure to follow the show on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts so that you never miss another episode. Here's to you and your best health.